Tonight I'm gonna make meatball subs with Fathead dough. So here I have a pound of hamburger meat and just add an egg. I like to add a little bit of crushed red pepper. We like our meatballs a little spicy. A little salt and pepper. I used to make meatball subs a lot before we started keto, and when I discovered the Fathead dough, that was one of the first things that I made, and it's one of our favorites. It's really, really good. Lots of Italian seasoning and garlic powder. And then this, I dehydrated some of my low carb bread. I did it in my Ninja Foodie for like 5 minutes. Broke them up into pieces, put them in here with Italian seasoning, garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, and blended that up. So that's gonna be my breadcrumbs. The bread that I use is the low carb bread from Brahms. It's amazing. It's 7 net carbs for 2 slices. So, and it's like $1.67. It's amazing. It's my best find yet. For those of you that don't have Brahms in your area, I'm sorry, because it's bomb.com. Okay, so I'm gonna mix this stuff up really, really good. Not too mixed, because the more you mix the dough, the tougher it gets. So, I mean, not the dough, sorry, the meat. Not meat, tough meatballs. That's not delicious at all. Okay, so those mixed pretty well. You are gonna see like pieces of breadcrumbs in there. That's fine, not a big deal. I forgot to get something. Without touching anything with my nasty fingers. So I like to use an ice cream scoop, or you can use a melon baller, but they're a little small. That way you make sure all your balls are the same size. Just roll it up. I do all of them in the bowl first, and then I'll just put them all in the pan at the same time. I'm gonna make these in my Instant Pot. You could do on stovetop, just cook them in the pan. You could bake them, you could use frozen if you want to. It's your call, but I find meatballs to be really easy, and so I make them fresh. Even easier in the Ninja or the Instant Pot. I'm all about quick and easy. So I'm gonna finish balling these all up, and then I'm gonna wash my hands, and I'll come back and show you all what I do to put them in the pot. All right, so I've got those all balled up. I washed my hands. So next I'm gonna take the sauce. This is the same one I used last night on my chaffle pizza. So I'm gonna just pour just enough to really cover the bottom in this, because you have to have like liquid or something in the bottom of your Instant Pot, or you'll get the burn notice, and that's no fun. Now I'm gonna put these, I'm gonna just drop them in there because I don't wanna have to wash my hands again. I'm gonna stir those around just a little bit, just to make sure that they're not on top of each other or anything. And I like to kind of stir them up and get the sauce all over them. This sauce, when you cook them in the Instant Pot, it cooks up into the meatball and makes them really flavorful and juicy. They're so good. So sometimes I like to make large batches of these meatballs, and you can either cook them in the sauce and then freeze them in the sauce, or just ball them up and freeze them raw and then cook them later. Makes for really easy weeknight meals. There's so many things you can do with meatballs. I mean, really. I like to make the, well, I haven't made it since keto, but I'm planning on trying to find a keto version of it. The party meatballs with like the chili sauce and grape jelly. It's so good. That's one of my favorite things. Determined to find an alternative for keto. All right, so I'm going to make sure that the vent is closed on seal. And let me see if I can do this with you where you can see it. I'm going to do pressure cook for 10 minutes. After that, I'm going to natural release, or no, actually I'm gonna quick release, whatever. And while that's working, I'm going to get everything ready for my fathead dough. So I'll be right back. All right, so I've actually never made a video of my fathead dough before. I've just kind of posted the recipe. If you're a visual learner like me, hopefully this will help you. So in this bowl, I have 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, a cup and a half of mozzarella. So I'm gonna add some garlic powder and some Italian seasoning. You can make fathead dough any way you want, sweet, savory, put different kinds of flavorings in it. Like I've made cinnamon roll chaffle, holy cow, it's so good. Next thing on my list is gonna be cinnamon rolls. I just gotta get the brown sugar first. But so 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, 1.5 cups of mozzarella seasoning. I'm gonna stick this in the microwave for 1 minute. So while that's going, I meant to tell y'all before I threw the meatballs in there, sometimes I like to stuff them with string cheese. So I get a string cheese, cut it in half long ways, and then cut them in fourths. And I make the balls just like I did with the scooper. And then I kind of dig my thumb in and make a little hole and stick that cheese in there and then just make the ball around the cheese. They're so good when you bite into them and have that melty cheese in there. It's one of our favorites. That's gonna take a minute. Also, I told you about freezing. You can also freeze the fathead dough. So sometimes I like to make just for one person, and I'll make the whole thing and use half of it, and I'll wrap the rest in saran wrap and throw it in the fridge for the next day, or you can freeze it and thaw it out later. So this part you have to move kind of fast because this cheese will harden. So if you see here, I'm gonna mix this up really well. If you mix it, like put some muscle in it and mix it real well, you can't even tell that there's 2 different kinds of cheeses in there. If you don't mix it all the way up, it'll still be just as good. It doesn't really matter. But I like to mix it till everything blends really well. So then you have this little glob of cheese. And then I'm gonna add 3/4 of a cup of almond flour. And I've made this so many times, trial and error. I figured out the easiest way to get everything to mix correctly. So what I do is microwave this again for about 30 seconds because that cheese hardens really fast. So I'll microwave that again, stir it really well. If I need to, I'll microwave it again, and then I'm gonna add my egg. When things are in the microwave, you get a great time. So hopefully you can see this. It's kind of like kneading, I guess, like kneading the dough into the flour. Not mixed really well this time. So then I'm very quickly gonna crack my egg in there. You can even, if you need to, if the cheese hardens too fast, you can even stick it in the microwave with the egg in there. I wouldn't do it for any more than like 10 seconds at a time, but I've done that many times. Like I said, I did a lot of trial and error on this recipe. Some nights it was like, well, dinner's ready. It's ugly, but it's ready. It always tasted good. It just didn't ever really look great. But now I've got it down. See? Do you see that? It's kind of hard, but the egg isn't completely mixed in. Sorry, I'm gonna microwave it a little bit. You like some elevator music? Okay, that is perfect. That was 10 seconds. So now it's mixing up really well. I like that I finally got my tripod all set up so I can make videos where I need all hands. It's pretty neat. Okay, so now we have this perfect doughy ball. Everything's mixed in really well. Need a light over there. So I'm gonna put that on my parchment paper. This is wax-free parchment paper. You don't want the waxy stuff. I'm gonna put another piece on top, and I'm gonna kind of flatten that out. You can kind of mold it to the shape you want it to be first, for the most part, anyway. And then I'm gonna use my roller pin and roll it out. So I need to get at least 3 of these doughs out of this. Hopefully 4 would be cool. That way I have something for lunch tomorrow. But we shall see. Obviously, the thinner you roll it, the more you get out of it. But you don't want it to be too thin because then it gets really, really hard to handle. And see, sometimes like this, see how it's uneven? Take it and kind of smear it down here. And then just press it. Same over here. Ooh, my paper got all funky. This stuff is pretty pliable. If you need to, you can just kind of move it around. It does get really sticky once it starts cooling off. But that's pretty much what I wanted right there. So now, since I don't know if you saw that, all the wrinkles on the side, you can see it. See all that? That's like the paper in between the dough. So in order to keep that from making it harder to wrap them around the meatballs, I like to flip it over to the other side and very carefully peel that paper off. Just like that. So then I'm gonna take a knife, and I'm thinking I can get 4 out of this one. We'll see. This might be a disaster. Hey, fail videos are fun too, right? So I'm gonna break that into, or cut that into 4. I'm gonna let this sit while my meatballs are finished cooking. There's 1 minute left. I'm gonna release the air on that. Okay, so if you can see here, after I cut them up, I transferred it to a cookie sheet just to make this whole next process a little easier. And I sprinkled with quite a bit of mozzarella. If you're thinking like the bread is made out of cheese and then you put more cheese on top, like it's overdoing it with the cheese, trust me, you won't even know that this bread is made out of cheese. It's amazing. So I took my meatballs and I skimmed the fat off the top, the grease, because I don't like them mixed in my spaghetti sauce. It's kind of gross to me. So I skimmed that off, and then I added a little bit of xanthan gum. This is really, really, really good for thickening soups too. I used to, before keto, used to use, what is that stuff called? Cornstarch, or whatever it is that you use, and you mix it with water and it thickens soups. All I got was big clumps of white stuff in my soup. I never was able to master the cornstarch. So this stuff is awesome. Even if you don't do keto, try it out. So I'm gonna take some meatballs. See how thick the sauce is. Like, glad I did that. That was pretty smart. Don't like to toot my own horn, but all right. So I'm gonna put 3 meatballs on each one. Oh my gosh, that sauce is perfect. Yeah. Now my son asked me if he could have extra cheese on his, so I'm gonna actually fold them up and bake them, get the bread, you know, where it's firm around them, and then I'll add some cheese on the top. So this part can be tricky. I'm not gonna lie, there have been several instances where I said, F it, we're just having meatballs on a toothpick for dinner. Trust me, if you have the patience for it, it is very worth it. Once you get it down, it's fairly easy. I hope I did not just jinx myself. So let's see if I can do this. So you're gonna kind of lift the paper and pull the dough away. I'm hoping you can see this on there. Pull this corner. Kind of wrap it up like a taco. Tacos sound good too, right? And then you're gonna just pinch the end together like this. I'll take a picture of this and put it into the middle of the video so you can see it up close. So pinch, pinch. You can kind of fold it, tuck it. I'm gonna actually move it over just a tiny bit so that they don't cook together. I have like a foot long meatball sub. So see, it's like a pocket. I'm gonna do that on all of them. This dough is, like I've said several times, very, very versatile. I also make, I call them my keto knot pockets. You can do any flavor, really. I like the pizza ones. I like ham and cheese. They'd probably be really good savory. I don't know what you could put in them that's keto, but I have heard of people making like a apple pie using rutabaga. I haven't tried that yet. If you have, like, seriously drop me a recipe. I would be in love because I love apple pie and I miss it so much. But so these sometimes don't turn out real pretty. It doesn't matter. They taste freaking good. And you might be making this thinking, oh, she made that look so easy. I one time got so frustrated I threw a ball of Fathead dough at the wall. So if you're there too, I get it. Just keep trying. Do not give up on this recipe. You will not regret it. This is really good too. I've made it with Phillies. I made the Philly meat, put it in, fold it around. Yeah. You can actually, once this is baked, you can actually pick it up and eat it like a real sub sandwich. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, I'm really good at that. I had my oven preheated at 350. You ever get that feeling where you're like, I feel like I'm forgetting something? I get that so often, it's not even funny. I'm beginning to worry about myself. I think I'm getting old or something. Okay, so here they are. They actually look really good this time, and that was fairly pretty. Thank you. I was really nervous about that. It's one reason I haven't made this video yet. Actually, I have tried to make this video a couple of times, and I think one of those was when I threw the dough at the wall. So I'm gonna wash my hands. I'm gonna throw these in the oven. Take those pictures so you can see them close up, and I'm gonna let them cook. Again, I'm gonna time it and see exactly how long. I wanna say it was 12 minutes. It's usually about 12 minutes. I don't know, I'll let you know. All right, I just wanted to show y'all, this has been 10 minutes. So 12 minutes was way off. They're not even halfway there, I'm thinking. This one has a little bit of brown to it, but I can tell they're not firm yet. So I'm gonna keep cooking. All right, so they're looking really good. All browned up. So I'm gonna take them out and put some extra cheese on them. It has been 24 minutes. So let's top a little bit of cheese on here. You can also put Parmesan, or I usually use provolone actually. I just feel like it melts better, but mozzarella is what I have on hand. Lots and lots of it. You can even put jalapenos in here if you want to. Yum. Ooh, pepperoncinis would be good on here too. Ooh, I'm hungry. Can y'all tell? So I'm gonna stick that back in. Just melt that cheese. And then dinner's ready. All right, so here they are. My keto meatball Fathead subs. You can get that up close. Ooh, melty. See, this one busted open a little bit. Not a big deal. You can pick it up like a sub, eat it like that. I like to drizzle a little ranch over it. If it fits in your macros, go for it. So this is really good served with a nice side salad, glass of wine, whatever you want. But there it is. Nice and piping hot meatball subs. Hope you guys enjoy it.